Hi guys, I'm back. I know I'm very slow with these art journal tours, but that's because I've been completing probably 6 or 7 sketchbooks at a time, as I normally do, and so you end up with a giant chunk of these videos at the end of the year. Not that we're at the end of the year yet, but this will be the first one. This is a Stillman and Birn Epsilon series sketchbook, finished in early September. And it's chunky. It's a big chunky book. So as per normal, I'll talk about some of the things that I use in here, some of the materials, some themes, some motivations, and talk about some of my favorite pages in here and stuff. So yeah, these are all my own eyeballs actually, which is weird because the eye color changes quite a bit. So one thing that I've been learning a lot about in the last couple months has been dealing with text and dealing with anything to do with writing in my sketchbooks. I've so far just been like free-handing it, like just kind of going with this. And you can see it looks kind of wonky. It doesn't look great. It's not bad or anything. It's just that it's just not as sharp as it could be. You can see that like this word is a lot smaller than this word, for example. And so I've been learning, and I'll show you a couple of sort of pages where I have done the text really well, and I'll explain sort of my process and how I've learned to do that. And it's extremely time consuming, but you can sort of see the difference. So I'll use this page as kind of like a before shot when it comes to text, and then I'll explain my process once we get to like a better page later on. So yeah, so you can see again, this is just free-handed. It's still a lot better than this one, because at least the lettering is kind of all equal size, but you know, not amazing. And there's nothing wrong with freehanding. I have no issue against it. It's just that it's sort of the thing that I've been learning about recently. Another thing that I've really been enjoying is dealing with like using technology-based, not art, but the technology-based stuff. Like this is the notes app from your phone, and then drawing it out in a traditional art sense when it kind of looks a little bit wonky and a little bit different, and putting it into an art journal. I just, you know, I've been having a lot of fun with that in this art journal. So here we are. So here's what I mean when I say like really sharp text, and I'll explain. Like you can see this versus this, like there's nothing wrong with this. Again, I have no issue with it, but just like look at how like sharp and clear and like just eye-catching that text is comparatively. And the way I do it, this is insane. It's so much work. And I also use a good chunk of like digital help, I suppose, because what I have is on my iPad Pro, I have a page that's the same size as this guy, and then I have another one that's the same size as this one. So I pick the one that I'm using. So in this case, I'm only using the one page instead of using the whole spread. And then I will use some kind of text-based app. Now Procreate, the app that I use, has text integrated, so that's been really great. I've just been using that more recently. But before that, I used an app called Over, and so I would use the text. I would, you know, do the font, and then I would adjust it so that it fits the page, so that I can get a clear idea of the size that it needs to be to fill the page, to center it, to see like how big the lettering has to be, so that I can get a grasp of like its placement on that page. And then I would just put it next to each other, and then draw the bottom line, draw the top line, you know, move it around, find the center. There's a lot of graphing, a lot of like pencil work to try to get it all the same size. Then I would essentially just like copy the font that I'm using and get it onto the page. And then after all of that, I would put it in properly. So in this particular case, it was using Liquitex white acrylic ink, so white on a red background. Whatever it may be, I would then erase all of the pencil marks, and I'd have a finished product. It's an insane amount of work, and if you ever, or if I ever were to like mess it up, I'd have to start completely from scratch. Like it was so much work, but it just pops, you know. It looks so great, and it looks so you know, so much better than like this, for example. So that's been a lot of work, but really, I don't know, rewarding. I don't know, I'm just enjoying doing that. But it usually means that just adding in a text to a page has been the thing that takes the longest, so that's kind of why it takes me so long sometimes. Yeah, so here's some more of that. So this is like the Apple Messenger app or whatever. So using that in an artistic way, but it still looks kind of wonky. It still looks a little bit different because of course it's all free-handed. And I like that. I like the fact that it looks a little bit off, but enough for it to be recognizable. So, yeah. So here's another page that I kind of used a lot of digital help. These are all actually my hands. So what I did, somebody in the comments in a previous, I think, art journal tour asked me about this, like when I talk about using digital programs to help me do artwork traditionally. And what I did here was I took a bunch of photos of my hands in different positions. Then I put them in an app like Procreate, kind of superimposed them, layered them on top of each other. Again, I used the canvas size, that's the same size as this page, and then position them so that they would fill the page. Because one of the hardest things I found when doing traditional artwork is simply like figuring out the position of something on a page. Like, you know, when you draw like an eyeball, like you want to draw a person, you draw an eye, and then you draw the other eye, you draw the face, and then you realize that the face takes up like this much space, and then you don't have space for anything else. And in digital work, you can just take that whole thing and just make it smaller, right? But you can't really do that in traditional artwork. So the one thing that I've really been enjoying when it comes to blending the two is to use that to kind of figure out the positioning of things on a page. Unfortunately, I think I deleted the actual thing I did, and it was also really ugly because I just like cut this out and just superimposed everything, and it was all like dark. Because all I really needed, I didn't really need the hands themselves, I just needed their size approximate to the canvas that I'm using. And so you can actually see like this one and this one, same hand but just reversed. So like I just mirror flip them, and like this one here is a lot bigger than the rest of them and all that. So I use that to kind of help me figure out their size in proportion to the page. So that was kind of my explanation for that one. This was actually using crayon, like Crayola crayon, like for kindergartners. It was really fun. I used a little bit of a heat gun to like blend it and to layer it up. And Crayola just came out with like a bunch of really cute colors, like lots of teals and some really interesting like skin tony ones that have been really fun to play with. So I ended up getting like a little tin of them for like $3 at Staples. And I kind of want to make a whole page with it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So, yeah. Another thing I've been doing is, you know, when you want to try out a new medium, like let's say like gouache, and so you go to like a store like Michael's and you get like an introductory gouache set, because you don't want to spend a huge amount of money, you don't want to invest a huge amount into it right from the get-go, you want to see if you like it first. So you get a little introductory set and you play around with it, and you're either going to be like, you know what, I love gouache or I hate gouache. And if you love it, you're going to go to a better brand and invest a little bit more money into it, because you want something that will actually, you know, be of a good quality so you can get a decent result at the end. But so you have this like little introductory set that you end up probably putting in a drawer somewhere and then leaving behind. And so for me personally, this happens a lot, and I end up with this accumulation of art supplies that I'm like, I don't know, I'm almost like saving for something. I don't even know what. And at the same time, even though I don't really have any plans to like use it, I still am for some reason saving them for like a special occasion sort of, which makes no sense. So I've made it sort of my goal in the last couple of months, or last year rather, to use up a lot of these art materials where I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need to hold on to it. I don't need to keep it for a special occasion. So I've given myself sort of permission to experiment with it, to kind of go crazy, and if it doesn't turn out great, I don't feel bad about throwing it out. So, you know, for this particular case, I have like a whole tub of like old acrylics that are really not great quality, and I've just been going for it, just having lots of fun, putting it in my sketchbook, and then not really worrying about like saving it for some reason. So I've been doing that. You can see that a lot through the sketchbook and a lot through other ones as well that I'm going to have coming up. This is watercolor. I didn't love how this turned out, but it's still cute. I learned a lot. I learned I love using blue when it comes to watercolor. Here's another theme through this one and through my other art journal of I've really fallen in love with pencil. it's something I never really used too much of, and I tried it out and I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is so versatile. I can really just go crazy with this. There's a few things I don't love about it. I wish I could go for like darker, more like black lines as opposed to that graphite kind of color. Also, sealing it is a pain in the butt, but you'll see it quite a bit through the sketchbook of me. There's like going to be a figure in pencil and then some kind of background in the back. So I kind of turned that into a trend in this art journal. So you'll see it quite often. And here's some more of me trying to use up acrylics. Another thing I hoard, fine liners. So many fine liners. Not that I don't use them. I do use them quite a bit. So yeah, this one was quite fun. This took forever, but it's quite fun. Also lots of yellow in this journal. So again, pencil figure with like an acrylic background. This is all about people who feel the need to like constantly get involved in your medical history, I suppose is the best way. So I've been having quite a few medical issues in the last year, and whenever someone feels the need to like pry into my life and then talk about it with me, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. I hate it. Like, even if it's your family, they think that you owe them a rundown of your medical history. Like, I hate that. I hate that feeling. So here's my response to that. Just leave it alone. There's some more gouache, trying to use it up. Here's another one. So gold foil. Someone gave me a little package of gold foil that's been sitting in my cupboard for, I don't know, 3 years. I don't even know. I don't know how to use it. I have no idea. I watched like 30 seconds of a YouTube tutorial and then I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go crazy with this. I have so much of it. I had like, I don't know, 12 or 13 sheets of it. So I was like, I'm gonna go crazy. So I decided to give this sort of a try. I wanted a sort of like gun-like feel. I don't know if that came across, but that's okay. And then I did a couple other pages with gold foil in my other art journals. I like it. You can see it's very, very shiny, very reflective, but it feels like it's gonna come off at any moment. So I did seal it, but it still feels very fragile, very unpredictable, but that can also be fun in its own way, right? This is actually the last page that I finished in this art journal. I don't love how it turned out, but that's okay. This page, you know what, it's so simple. There's really not a lot going on here, but earlier this year, actually technically at the end of last year, December 24th, Christmas Eve, my dog died. She was, she was put to sleep. She was sick for a very, very long time, almost a full year. So, we knew it was going to happen eventually. We didn't realize how fast it would be. And it hit me like really, really hard. It was the first time I've ever had to do that with a pet. And yeah, you can like, I don't really talk about it a lot. So, but you can see there's like little bits of trauma throughout my art for the last couple of months, trying to deal with it. But the one thing that I did a few weeks after she passed away was I went to IKEA and I got a stuffed panda. And I haven't had stuffed toys in forever. Like probably when I was around 17 or 18 years old, first year of university, I think, I went and I gave all of my stuffed toys away. I sent them to thrift store or whatever. There's a few I kept, like maybe 1 or 2 that are like sentimental, like baby stuff that I was like, I can't really give this away. But I thought, you know what, I'm too old for this. Like I can't spend money on frivolous things like toys because I'm an adult now and that's, how adults behave. Like none of them have stuffed toys. And then now here I am, I'm almost 30 and I'm, after my dog died, I was like, you know what, screw everything. Screw everything. I really want this stuffed frickin' panda. So I got the panda, and then later on I ended up getting like a stuffed shark and this like weird like little avocado that has little feet. And they all like live on my bed. And slowly I sort of started to accumulate more stuffed toys. And I was like, this isn't how an adult should behave. But at the same time, like, I just don't care anymore. Like, I'm too old to care how people perceive the fact that I have stuffed toys. like, I don't care if people think that's childish or weird or bizarre. Like, as it says, I'm way too old to be an adult. I don't care, like, what you should be doing. If this makes you happy, and if it's something that doesn't harm anyone, and, I mean, yeah, a stuffed toy can be, like, expensive, like, $20 or whatever, but I don't care. It makes me happy, and now I have, like, a little teeny tiny collection, and I love them, and so it helped me a lot, and it helped me to process things, and, it kind of made me realize a lot of things. Being an adult is fake. No one's an adult. Nothing matters. So, yeah. Here's another one. Lots of things. Like, there's people in your life that you have to sort of deal with. And this isn't always about a relationship. This could be about a friend. This can be about a family member. Like, you know, sometimes you're better off away from certain people. And it may be one of the most difficult things to do, but sometimes two people are just not meant to know one another. You know what I mean? Here's probably one of my favorite pages. Probably my second favorite page. I just love the expression on this girl's face. I'm actually going to paint her again, but in watercolor. And again, you can see pencil drawing with an acrylic background. Apparently that's what I do now. This is like a still from Friends, I think, which I don't even watch, but I just saw this and I was like, this is the mood. That's a vibe. That's fabric from the backpack that I made. Just really liked it, and I thought it was kind of cool. I like the threads. Oh, this page. Okay, I have a lot of thoughts on this one. Feelings. Not so much about the page itself, because it's a pretty straightforward thing. Like, I did think about this a lot. Also, the text is all wonky, but I'm over that. But I posted this to Instagram, and the response I got was just so strange to me. It was such a weird thing, because I had so many people that responded with stuff like, oh, well, I wouldn't be as compassionate, I wouldn't be as strong, I wouldn't be as good of a friend, I wouldn't be XYZ. And it was such a weird response to this kind of thought, because it felt like saying those things gave a reason that the trauma happened, as if the trauma was actually a good thing. And it kind of comes from the same place as, like, people saying, like, oh, bad things need to happen to make you a stronger person or to make you a better person. And I find that's really, I don't think that that should be true. You know, like, what's to say that good things can't happen to make you a stronger person? Positive things can't happen to make you more compassionate or better. Like, why do people assume that it has to be trauma? Like, why are you, like, don't allow people to make you believe that trauma is a good thing because you need some kind of justification for it happening. Like, no one deserves it. No one deserves the trauma. No one deserves the bad things that happen, even if you do think that they make you a better person. It's so, I don't know, I find it so hard and unfair to make yourself believe that traumatic things need to happen to make you the person that you are. That, I don't know if I'm phrasing it the right way, but this page kind of sent me, like, the original focus on it was so different from my thought process after I posted it online and got such a response to it, because I was like, the whole point is that no one deserves it. No one deserves to be put in a horrible place, even if you do think that it caused something good to happen. What's to say that good things can't happen to make you a better person, you know? I don't know if I'm saying it right, but whatever. This page. I'm an autumn person. I don't like summer at all. I'm not a summer person. I'm ready for fall. This is some more pencil crayon. I wanted to see how it blends. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm a Canadian, and in Canada it's called pencil crayon, but it's actually color pencil. That's what we're just using a different word for it, but I know that leads to a lot of confusion sometimes, so. On this one, my favorite page, hands down. So again, pencil person. And I wrote that in my phone. ages ago. I needed to find a good thing to use it for. And people always kind of automatically assume it's meant to be like for a romantic partner or whatever, but it really is anyone. It's a friend, it's a parent, it's a sibling. Don't let anyone make you believe that. Haven't you ever wanted to make a friend so badly you ate a frog and terrorized a bathhouse before? Oh, Spirited Away. This is probably one of my favorite movies of all time, and this was me and a coworker trying to explain to another coworker the premise of the movie, which I never really realized how weird it was until I had to explain it. And here's another one of those experimenting with art materials that I no longer want to hang on to. We just put I just put a bunch of acrylic paint down and then just swiped it across. And I think it's also kind of fun because, like, I love learning about digital painting. I've been trying to learn it. Not very well. But there's some stuff that I love the idea that it's really easy to do certain things digitally that it's hard to do traditionally. And it's so hard to do some things, you know, vice versa. And this is one of those things where I was like, this took me 30 seconds and a bunch of paint, whereas doing something of this kind of style digitally would be really difficult, I think, unless there's a program that did it for you. And I love the idea that they each have their own space, they each have their own way to interact with one another, and I just think that's really cool. This is some blackout poetry. If you've never tried it, I highly recommend it. You just take like a block of text from anywhere, ripped out page from a book or magazine or whatever, and just find the things that speak to you. Make new things from old things. You can surprise yourself with what you create. It's actually the lake by my house. And here's some more of that like weird technology-based stuff. Computer errors, but drawn in my shaky little hand. I don't really want it to look perfect. I want it to look like a mess. And that's it. Finished September 1st. And that's the first one. I've got a couple more that are halfway to being done, or sometimes more than halfway to being done. This one will probably be next. This is the Nova series. Probably about 80% of the way through. There's some more, and there's my big sketchbook as well. Probably about halfway through that one as well. So yeah, about that much left. So yeah, so this one, Stillman and Birn, Epsilon series. I've nicknamed it the No Thanks Journal because that sticker on the front. All done, all finished, ready to go on the completed shelf. And then you'll probably see these guys coming up pretty soon. So thanks so much for watching. If you have any thoughts, if you have any feelings, let me know in the comments. And I'll see you guys next time, hopefully soon.